So how do we go from carbohydrates like bread to fat? This is how we do it. So first, glucose in carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are a bunch of glucoses, right? Tied together like branches on a tree branch. And they're broken down into a bunch of different glucose molecules. These glucose molecules are then also broken down to get a bunch of ATP. Think Mario breaking blocks to get apples instead of mushrooms, because apples kind of remind me of energy. So we now have a bunch of ATP, but we still need more. So what happens? Well, some of the glucose from before that we didn't use gets converted into this molecule called glycogen. And glycogen is used for that extra energy, that extra ATP. When glycogen is used, we don't use all of it. Some of it gets stored as fat. So some of the glycogen we use, we get some energy, ATP. And then some of the glycogen we use gets stored in as fat. And it goes through 12 steps. Right here, you can see 12 steps to finally become this molecule called acetyl-CoA. Let me write that down. Acetyl-CoA. And acetyl-CoA goes into two processes, right? So either you want to make more energy with this acetyl-CoA, or you want to store it. And the more food you eat, the more of it gets stored as fat. And then so from acetyl-CoA, it gets converted into triglyceride, or the simpler version is just a tag. And tags are stored right here in this cell called an adipocyte, which makes up all the fat cells in your body. And then for adipocytes to eventually become energy, it goes through a reverse process. So it goes from tag to acetyl-CoA. And then acetyl-CoA goes into this cycle that releases a bunch of ATP. And if you want to know what this cycle is called, it's called the Krebs cycle. And that's how you use tags for energy. That's how they're stored as fat. That's how they come from carbohydrates.